and welcome to another exciting episode of the Why I Love Disney podcast. It's great to be back for season 2. This is Dustin. What's up, David? How are you doing?
Doing great, Dustin. How are you?
Doing fantastic. It's so excited to be back, man. I was going through our archive of podcasts, and it's been a little while. It's probably been about a year since we finished season 1, and a lot of us, we'll talk about why and all that stuff, but I was going back to see so many downloads of so many of the episodes over even the past month and 2. So thank you so much for sticking with us and listening and interacting with us online and websites and things like that. We're so excited to be back for season 2 of the Why I Love Disney podcast. Some news for you. Ramin is not with us right now. He's on the West Coast, and I hope to have him back at some point. You guys will hear him again. But we have another guest host that's going to be a regular fixture on the show. And David, I'm going to let you introduce him because I know he has a special place in your heart.
Yes, this is one of my favorite people in the whole world, and this is my son, John David. We also call him JD, and he's going to be joining us today and hopefully several more times here in the near future. He's a big Disney fan. He's living down in Florida, and he's a student there and not too far from the park. So, John David, welcome. We're glad to have you here.
Welcome, JD.
Thank you so much, guys. I'm happy to be here. I love what you guys are doing with this podcast. I love everything about it. So thank you guys for having me here. I appreciate it.
It is our pleasure. Tell us a little about yourself. What are you doing? What are you into these days?
Yeah, so I'm living in South Florida right now. I moved here about a year ago. I've recently got an annual pass, which I'm so pumped to have, and I've been working. I'm a college student. I'm studying international business here in South Florida. So loving Disney. I'm getting to see a whole different side of Disney, going to the parks. I've been trying to go at least once a month to see all of the holiday decor and just see how it's changing and evolving. So I've enjoyed it. I'm loving this stage of life. It's been a lot of fun.
John David is also a newly married man.
That's right.
Congratulations. Maybe we get your wife on here at some point, too. Is she a Disney fan also?
She is. We have enjoyed going to the parks together. Her favorite thing about the parks is food, so we've been exploring the food aspect of what Disney has to offer. So I'm sure it'd be great to have her on here to talk about her favorite foods.
So is it kind of a requirement to join that family? You have to be a Disney fan? Is that kind of how it works?
It's kind of one of those unwritten rules where it's not really said, but it's kind of just understood. Which
Gotcha.
She fits the part great. She supports the love and also admires it herself. So we have a really good time.
Yes, I'm thrilled to have your perspective on the show. To be honest with you, getting to know you guys over the years, and I've worked with your dad for a long time. I just want to tell the listeners, these guys are real Disney fans. Like these are fans. I'm a fan, but they're fans. Like,
you're a fan.
And it's so. No, I'm a fan. I am, but you guys are another level, and that's what I love. I love that everybody can approach things from a slightly different perspective. You have a different kind of background in your interactions with Disney. I grew up in Central Florida, so I was very close to it. You guys were from the Tennessee area, and kind of it would plan family vacations around it. So it's a little different than kind of my background, but we all from a little slightly different. I think we cover probably 3 decades of perspectives here, and I think it's going to be interesting for the listeners to hear y'all's perspective, and I'm excited to learn from you guys too. So welcome, JD. We're thrilled to have you, man.
Glad to have you here.
Much.
All right, so I thought we should start. Now, we got a lot to talk about in our first episode back in season 2, but just so the listeners can get to know you a little bit more, I got some lightning round questions for you.
Let's do it.
Are you ready for some lightning round questions?
I'm so ready. Throw them my way. Let's go.
All right, number one. Favorite Disney movie of all time?
Favorite Disney movie, easy, no question about it. It's got to be Hercules. I love the character. I love the plot of going out there, going the distance. One of the best soundtracks, hands down. It gets a lot of love, but I definitely think it's still underrated. I don't think it gets all the love that it really deserves.
Hercules, man, honestly, I wouldn't have guessed that. It's kind of under the radar. You don't think about it when you ask your favorite. There's some big names out there, but that's awesome. Great perspective. Now, can you sing one of the songs?
I could, but I don't think you guys would want me back on here if I did that. So I'll respectfully say no to that.
All right, I respect that. I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
All right. Question 2. Favorite all-time Disney attraction at any park, at any land?
Favorite attraction. So if you would have asked me this about 1 or 2 years ago, Space Mountain has always been my favorite. I love the whole Tomorrowland, everything. I love everything about that area of Magic Kingdom. But ever since Rise of Resistance has come into the picture, I mean, that holds the ticket to my favorite attraction. It's one of the few. It's one of the many things, but one of the few things in the recent past that my jaw has been on the ground. I remember me and Dad did it pretty soon after it came to Disney World, and just being in awe of this 20-minute really just show where you're just walking around. You get there's a ride portion, and you just you're in the middle of the whole story. It's just an amazing thing. So that definitely has taken my favorite attraction for sure.
Awesome. Way to go getting the Jawa on the ground, too.
Yeah, that's the
dad joke.
Yeah,
dad joke.
I had to get it in there.
Yeah. Are you a Star Wars fan, like in general, or is it kind of like, would you count yourself as like a diehard Star Wars guy?
I don't know if I'd say diehard. I'm definitely above average fan. I have enjoyed watching like The Mandalorian and all the new series. One of the new series that has come to Disney Plus is called Visions, and I've enjoyed watching that. Anytime there's a new chapter of the story, like the Clone Wars, I love to watch it and try to inform myself on all that. So I'd definitely say I'm a big Star Wars fan, and I love when they brought it to the park. It was really fun for me to see.
Awesome. All right, next is if you had to like find yourself and you had to live in one of the lands at any of the parks.
Yeah.
You just had to, you just move in.
Yeah.
Which park would you choose and why? Which land would you choose and why?
Man, which land? There's so many good options. I don't know if there's any that I would not want to live in, honestly. They're all so great. I'd probably go back to what I was saying earlier about Tomorrowland. I love the idea of looking to the future. I love the idea of dreaming and the possibility of what could come. So if I was living somewhere, I would love to have that kind of theme for where I live of what could be, what if. And besides that, I love, again, Space Mountain. I love Buzz. I love the future, Star Wars-esque kind of style. So that would probably be Tomorrowland would probably be that.
All right, I like that. I think I'm with you there.
Yeah.
It's great argument for that. All right, now you may want to consult your wife on this one.
Okay.
But I'll ask you your favorite too. Favorite food in Disney. We can go favorite snack, and we can go favorite place for a meal. And what would that be?
Gosh, that's hard. So I'll give you some of my favorites because there's so many different aspects. I mean, we've talked about this for a little, but there's the high price, the high luxury meal. There's the snack, the quick on the go, grab it, nostalgic. You gotta have it every park day, and then you have probably the best overall value, the best meal that you can split with somebody. For that, if I was going to say I've got to eat something really quick or just my always go-to with family or friends, it would be Sleepy Hollow. I'm going over to Sleepy Hollow and I'm getting their Nutella waffle. You can split it or you can eat it by yourself. They put fruit on top of it, so it makes you feel like you're eating healthy, even though under it's smothered in Nutella.
That sounds great.
It's great. It usually, even though a lot of people love it, they're pretty quick, and you don't have to really wait a long time, which is a plus when you're trying to eat a lot, when you're trying to see a lot. So definitely that's my go-to spot, go-to snack that's nostalgic that I have to get just about any park day or every trip. Is a Mickey ice cream bar. I got those when I got those when I was really little, and every time I eat one, it just fills my mind with serotonin of what has been and what I love about Disney. It's like it feels like a Disney park day if I'm in front of the castle eating a Mickey ice cream bar. So that is a snack that I always try and sneak in somehow. If there's a cart with no line, I'll try and run over there real quick and grab one. But favorite restaurant that I've been to so far? And this leads me, I'm really excited to do Space 220 because I love the restaurants that it feels like an experience or an attraction while you're eating. I love that. I think that's what Disney does really well, especially with like lines and stuff like that. But my favorite so far was when I did I've done it twice, but it was Be Our Guest in Magic Kingdom. You walk in and it's the Beast in Belle's castle. But there's 3 wings. There's the main ballroom, and then there's the East Wing and the West Wing. And it's themed so well that you think you're really in the castle. And the food was really good. The service was great. Definitely an expensive meal, but it goes beyond the food. It was just a great experience.
It's a great experience.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
So just to recap, your Mickey ice cream bar, you can get that pretty much anywhere in any park?
Yeah, they've got carts set up. You can get it at any park, really, anywhere. It's pretty easy.
Just for our listeners who may not know, and then Sleepy Hollow, where is that located? Where can our listeners find that?
Yeah,
those Nutella waffles with the fruit for health reasons.
Yeah, exactly. So you walk into the park, you walk through Main Street, you see the castle, and you take a left. It's right before you really get into Frontier Fantasyland over there. It's right before that entrance. It's right to the left, pretty in the middle of the park.
Kind of the entrance to New Orleans Square. Not New Orleans Square, Liberty Square.
Liberty Square.
Square.
Yeah, it's
Gotcha.
in that area. Yeah.
So other than Hall of Presidents, it also has a great restaurant there. That's great.
Yeah.
All right. And then Be Our Guest is in Fantasyland. All of those in the Magic Kingdom, I might add. So you fair to say Magic Kingdom's your favorite park?
It is my favorite park. I've always loved it. It was always if I had one day at a park, I would go there. But not to say the Epcot, Animal Kingdom, and Hollywood Studios, they're all getting new attractions. It seems like just real recently. So that could be subject to change pretty soon.
Gotcha. All right. Final question for the lightning round. If you are telling someone going to Disney for the first time, hey, you need to check this out. This is the underrated thing you might miss, but you need to make this a must-see. Setting aside your favorites that we've already talked about, what would that under-the-radar kind of attraction or restaurant or whatever experience be?
Yeah.
That you would recommend?
Yeah. I would definitely, the first thing that comes to mind when I think that is, it's a well-known spot, but I still think it deserves more love, is Pandora over at Animal Kingdom. Pandora was such a great add to Animal Kingdom because it brought a whole new immersive land. But I feel like still with Animal Kingdom, it's kind of out of the way. It's the farthest drive or bus ride. There's not a monorail that goes there. So Animal Kingdom can easily be kind of if you're skipping a park, it can be skipped just because it's the most inconvenient to get to. Which, again, I think Animal Kingdom deserves way more love. And Pandora, in specific, with the Avatar theme, is one of the spots that I would say is a must-go if you're going to the Disney parks, just because it's so immersive. Go at night. They've got great attractions with the Na'vi River Journey, and Flight of Passage is, of course, one of the most loved new attractions. But if you can just be in that atmosphere at night with all the luminescent lights and the sounds, they do it really well too. If you could just sit and just look around, it's an amazing atmosphere and environment.
That's awesome. It's on my list. I wrote it down, and I've never been to Animal Kingdom, so now it's a priority. I've always thought of it like, well, that's the zoo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's really cool. Well, man, it is great to have you. Can't wait to talk about all the stuff we're going to talk about over the next few weeks.
Yeah.
Welcome, JD, to the Why I Love Disney podcast.
Yes.
I'm glad you're a part of it.
Awesome. Thank
I know
you so
David
much.
is
Yes,
too.
glad to have him here.
So, David.
yes.
Transition a little bit. I thought we'd give our listeners a little bit of update of what we've been up to for the past 10 to 12 months since season 1 kind of ended and the episodes kind of dropped off. What have you been into, man? How's life been for you?
Hey, well, working our way through the pandemic and all that goes with that, mainly. But life's moved by fast. Even though things slowed down for a while, it's hard to believe a year has gone by since our last episode. But right as we finished the season 1, I got to have a great trip down to Florida with JD. We spent some time there, and I never even got to report back on our podcast about that trip. I ended up getting COVID shortly after our last episode. Our whole family did, and even though we had gone through all these things to stay safe and keep ourselves quarantined and protected, we still got the virus over the holidays. So that a lot of adjustment working through those things and just trying to keep up, via internet and YouTube and podcasts, what's going on in the parks when we couldn't be there. But I did get one since we last spoke on the podcast. I got one more trip in, and looking forward to some more coming up soon here.
Awesome. Did you watch a lot of Disney Plus?
Oh yeah, we've watched a lot of Disney Plus. During the pandemic, we watched every Marvel movie, and then we've watched all the new things that have been on Disney Plus. So much great content that got us through a lot of isolation for a while.
I'll tell you what, like if you were a conspiracy theorist, you would think Disney would have known a pandemic was coming because they launched Disney Plus at the exact right time and had plenty of content to kind of keep sputtering out there, for a little while. But since we've had a podcast, they pushed back Black Widow at the theaters, and you had live action Mulan. I'm not sure we even talked about that on the podcast so much. Then you have the series, we had Mighty Ducks. We've had Loki. We've had WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier. I mean, these big properties. And the second season of Mandalorian we've never talked about.
Right.
Man, there's so much to talk about. But our family's been consuming lots and lots of Disney Plus and have had a blast with. I think our family's favorite probably was. Man, it's hard to say a favorite, but man, my kids loved the Mighty Duck series. That was incredible.
It's awesome.
We recently caught up on Black Widow. Loved it. Pay Scarlett Johansson. Just pay her. Just give her that lady her money. Pay the woman. She did a great job in that, and we want her back for many, many more Black Widow iterations. And then even to this weekend, it was funny, David. Same as you, we've battled COVID with different parts of our family and kind of different things throughout the last year and different challenges with the pandemic like everyone else. And I was thinking back, the last movie I saw in a theater before everything closed was Onward, which we talked about here. Then everything stopped. And if you go back and listen to some of those early episodes, it's a little eerie, talking about, hey, there's this virus thing, and we're kind of joking about it. And then they close Shanghai, and we're like, well, that'll never happen here. They'll never close here. And now here we are all this time later. And we reviewed Onward, and then everything closed. And then this past weekend, I went and saw Eternals, which is the first movie I think I've seen at a theater since Onward.
Same here.
Which was the last movie I saw at a theater. You saw it as well. Man, so I know we'll probably touch on that a little bit this episode. I'd love to do a podcast on the Eternals because I think it's a window into the phase 3 of Marvel and what we're doing. But man, I'm glad you're okay. I'm glad we're back getting season 2 rolling. I know you mentioned kind of alluded to it a minute ago. You have some exciting news about stuff you're getting into and about to head in the next week or two. Can you let us know and let our listeners know about that?
Yeah, next week, this week is the Destination D23 down in Orlando. So I'm going to be going down there and catching up with John David there in Orlando for this conference, and really looking forward to it. This is they advertise it, the Fantastic Disney Celebration, where they'll premiere new information for 2 days, presentations from 9 in the morning till dinner time, and hopefully some new exciting things will come out. Can't wait to find out what's coming down the pike.
It's going to be great. Yeah.
Awesome. No, the D23 explains to the listener what that is and kind of
D23 is a Disney fan club, and they have you can be a member and you can go to special events. You can buy special merchandise, things like that, and they do these events. Every year, usually some type of event. They have a lot of smaller events too, but this is one of the biggest ones they'll do this year. Next year, it's going to be in Anaheim. It'll be called the Disney Expo. Will be a very large convention.
Would you call kind of that? Somebody asked me the other day, Comic Con for Disney fans.
This is my first time, so I'll know better next week after I've seen it.
And now, are you going to get to go with JD? Are you guys going together?
So I don't have a ticket. It was a tough process to get a ticket. Of course, it's a well-loved, really popular event. We actually were on both of our laptops at the same time trying to get tickets, and it kicked me off right at the last moment. But Dad got through, and he got a ticket, so I'm pumped for him. We've got some days for the park, so it will be a great trip regardless. But it was unfortunate that I couldn't grab the ticket.
It's we call this podcast Why I Love Disney, because we focus on the things that we like and the things that we love. But getting tickets or anything like that over the phone is one of the hardest parts of any of Disney thing, is when you're trying to everybody in the country's trying to get a ticket at the same time. They were sold out within, I think, 10 minutes, and I should have. As a D23 club member, we had what was called a family plan, but they've changed it now to a duo plan. So it's really, you can't do a family plan anymore. It's a duo plan. So John David, I was able to let him, he could use the D23, our login number. He could get his own ticket. I could have gotten 2 tickets, but we also wanted to take his wife. So we were trying to get 3 tickets, and the only way to get 3 tickets was if we both bought tickets at the same time. So that's what we were doing. I should have bought 4 tickets, but they're non-refundable. So you couldn't give one back.
One of those things.
So I look at the hindsight. I should have just bought 2 tickets myself. He should have bought 2 tickets, and we just took the loss. Then we would have all gone. But my ticket went through, so we have one single ticket. And so I called Disney and said, "Is there any way that I can refund this? I really don't want to go alone." And there was no way. So he's going to meet me there. Fortunately, they're going to live stream it, so he can watch the live stream and he can spend some time in the parks while he's waiting for me. And we'll see how it goes. And that's.
So you said live stream. So we're going to get, or you think we're going to be able to pull off a couple episodes while you're there? Some breaking news for the listeners?
We'll see what we can do. I was actually referring that Disney is live streaming their event.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'm hoping we can jump in the park and actually do a podcast while you're there. That would be fantastic.
Would be fun. That would be fun. That would be a new experience. We'll see if I can hold a camera and talk to you at the same time. That would be interesting. I always imagine that the Wi-Fi in the parks would be very hard to live stream. I've watched several live streams. It doesn't always seem reliable. We'll see.
You may be correct about that. I guess we're going to find out, though. But even if we do it later, when you get back to the hotel,
we'll take a lot of pictures.
We can try that. Absolutely. Well, I'm excited about that. I think everybody's going to. John David, so you're going to go to the parks while your dad's at D23. Hopefully meet up with him. What are you looking forward to doing next week in the parks?
Man, I have not done Remy's Ratatouille yet. So I'm really excited for an opportunity to go over to Epcot. We're doing that Friday. We're going to run over there and get to see that new attraction. Also see Harmonious. I'm excited to see all the 50th anniversary new shows, attractions, try some of the food.
Tell them what is Harmonious?
So Harmonious is the new nighttime show that they have. Dad, you could probably speak more about it than I can.
It's the nighttime fireworks. It replaced the long-running Illuminations that was there for many years. And then there was an.
Is it Epcot?
It's at Epcot.
Yeah.
On the water. And then there was another show after Illuminations called Epcot Forever, and this is the new one called Harmonious. They finally brought in more of the Disney IP to the show. So it's kind of, some people love it. Some people prefer the old ways of Illumination, and where it was less about IP. So we've not seen it. I've seen it online. I've watched other people's videos of it, but I've not seen it in person. So we're looking forward to seeing it in the place. Another
one of the new shows is the fireworks show Enchantment over at Magic Kingdom. It's also replacing Happily Ever After, which was a very well loved fireworks show. So it'll be fun to be able to get that take in person, because I know that fireworks shows are a lot different from in person to watching it online.
Yeah. This new show in Magic Kingdom, Enchantment, has projections all the way down Main Street. All the buildings. It's not just, they're not just projecting on the castle now, they project all around you. So it's going to be pretty.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to get a first-hand account of what you guys think of all that.
We're looking forward to it.
Fantastic. So you'll get to hang out together, even though you're at D23 and you couldn't get in.
Yeah,
you're going to be able to see each other and hang out, maybe grab a
yes, we've got a couple of days that we're still going to be just in the parks.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I can't wait to hear it, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of news and a lot of perspectives coming from there. New content from us, because we've been, I mean, most of season 1, we're in a studio because of the pandemic, not out and about, checking on things. So this will be a new thing, and can't wait great way to start off season 2. So speaking of, we're going to talk, I know a lot about movies, a lot about Disney Plus content. What have you watched recently? What's been on your radar that it's on your mind that you've enjoyed consuming over the last couple of weeks, more recently?
Yeah, I talked about the Visions thing a little earlier. I've loved watching that. What If has been we talked about how Marvel has done a great job at, even through the pandemic, and pushing movies back, having those filler kind of things of showing us, like What If was the whole idea behind What If is it takes some of the stories that we know and love, but it tweaks one situation, one scenario, and changes and shows what it would have been like. So it's been really fun to watch that. Another series that I've really loved, that I know Dad's really loved, is Behind the Attraction. I love watching Disney Plus do series about Disney history, because I know it's firsthand, and they're getting all of the Imagineers that were actually on the project. And it's been really fun watching the history behind the attractions that I've been writing since I was so young.
That's been one of my favorites.
Yeah, I've been watching that too. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
What's your favorite episode on it, you think?
Favorite episode? They're all
or one that
great.
Sticks out to you?
I love all of the Haunted Mansion. Anytime they do anything about Haunted Mansion, because it's fun getting to see attractions maybe when they're a little more lit up and seeing how they do things. And when it's so dark in there, you question how they do so many things. So getting to see the artists and who worked on what was really fun.
Mm-hmm.
David, you have a favorite episode in there?
I loved them all. Probably the Haunted Mansion, the Pirates. Those are both great. I mean,
that was cool.
There's so much history with those animatronics attractions, just how they came about, and it's always fun to reminisce and hear about that.
Yeah, another really fun episode that they did was the castles, because they compared all the different castles at even the parks not in the U.S. And I've never been to those parks, so it was really fun to see the makeup and how they dreamed. And when they created a new park, they want to make it nostalgic and show that it is Disney, but they have to do it in a unique way that makes it special to people who are going just for fun, who want to do something different. So it's really fun getting to watch that for sure, the castles.
Yeah, throughout the series, there's this thread of the cultural perspective of there's a few of them where they want a clone of what's in United States, what's it in Disney, what's in Orlando, and there's other places where that's just not going to work. There's too much cultural the heritage there. They're going to have to approach it differently and do something unique, and how they do that and what they come up with is fascinating. The same with some of the rides too, like Space Mountain, and in Disneyland Paris. There's, that Jules Verne rocket they shoot, kind of thing. I never really paid attention to that until the episode. That's fascinating. Mm-hmm. And then in Shanghai, this futuristic high-tech city, they're not going to make a clone of kind of this structure, so they make Tron, right? Yeah. They reimagine the whole thing. And I thought all that was interesting. As Disney's grown and as they open more parks, how they approach these things, given the cultural context of all of it. Again, it's an amazing thing. What's another thing why I love Disney? It teaches us about culture. It respects cultures and tries to integrate and know that the human story of imagination and wonder and enchantment is kind of universal, but everybody has a slightly different spin and a way they approach things. And I think that's really, really fascinating part of it.
Yeah.
Anything else on Disney Plus, David? You've been watching?
That was the most recent thing. Of course, we loved watching Loki and WandaVision. All of those things this past year has been amazing.
Yeah, Marvel's been kicking butt, man. The pandemic might have slowed down the theatrical releases, and you understand why. They lose so much money. That's such a big event, right? And they have so much money into these. I think Black Widow, Shang-Chi, which I know we both all just recently saw. Yeah. And now the Eternals are kind of the three big Was there another Marvel movie in the pandemic? I think
Black Widow, right? Black Widow, yeah.
Black Widow, Shang-Chi, and Eternals. Those are the 3 theatrical releases.
Yeah.
And then you have the television series. We had WandaVision, we had Loki, we had Falcon Winter Soldier, and of course the What If and those sort of things also. And season 2 of Mandalorian, forgot about that also.
Yeah.
But all of those, man, filled up our time through. But what I really appreciate and enjoy this phase 3 that's coming is they're taking these older characters that, or characters that are a little more obscure, and they're giving them some life and some backstory, and really trying to, okay, Iron Man's gone. What do we do now? Can we get people to care about the Scarlet Witch, right?
Yeah.
And man, if WandaVision is a indication of what the future of this is, I think it's brilliant. I think they're knocking stuff out of the park and taking different genres and pulling it into the Marvel world. WandaVision reminded me a lot of Lost. It just had this like mystery to it where you're trying to figure out what's happening as you're going on. And I thought that I haven't felt episode 1 and 2 of WandaVision. I remember feeling I haven't felt quite this way since Lost. And I thought that was a huge compliment to them. And because I was a huge Lost fan at the time. And then, Falcon Winter Soldier feels like a spy, a spy show. And then Loki's more sci-fi. Matter of fact, I don't know if you remember this show, David. Remember the show Quantum Leap back in the 80s? Like that. Yeah, it kind of had that sort of... It was just sort of nodding to these old sci-fi genre things from the 80s and 90s and bringing it into the Marvel land, and I thought they did it masterfully. I thought it was fantastic. Do y'all have any thoughts on the Marvel universe and those shows in particular?
Yeah, I mean, I was just while we were mentioning them, I was just thinking to myself, which one did I enjoy the most? And like, why did I enjoy it? And if I had to answer that question, I'd probably say Loki, which is surprising because, he's portrayed as a villain in so much of the Marvel, movies. But I think I just really love an anti-hero, and they make him so lovable, even though he's got this stereotype of a villain, which I think they did really well in Loki. When I wasn't expecting to enjoy it more, I did, which again, they did really well.
I do enjoy that they all have a different feel. Everything, they don't feel like the same show with different characters. Each show has had its own personality. I really appreciated that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even the movies are going there. Like you have Black Widow that was kind of a shoot 'em up, James Bond-esque kind of thing. Yeah. And then Shang-Chi was a more a fantasy martial arts action movie, right? With the magic built into, all that kind of thing. Yeah. And then you get to the Eternals, which we all saw recently too, and it has a much different tone to it. I know we had some interesting thoughts, and I'd love to do maybe a full podcast on that at some point, because I know there's a lot to talk about with the Eternals, but it felt a little darker. It felt a little heavier. A little weightier. It was very long. There were new characters. If you look on Rotten Tomatoes, the critics didn't like it as much, but the fans seemed to like it quite a bit. I actually really did enjoy it. My kids really enjoyed it too, which is kind of a barometer I use, even though it was a little darker and more sinister. You always wonder kind of what do they do after Thanos? He snapped half the world's population away in a Malthusian sort of and then they wink at us the whole time. We bring him back. It was an incredible storytelling adventure. And now we have Eternals, which seem to kind of walk into kind of what phase 3, what we're getting into with the big stuff. Did you guys have any takeaways from that, or any, how did it make you feel? Like, the Eternals, how did that land with you?
And just to add to what you're saying, I think you're hitting it right. Without spoiling anything, of course, we don't want to spoil anything, but they do a great job, because we're getting a whole new cast of characters that no one has ever seen. We don't really know a lot about who they are, what powers they have. We know they're these exceptionally powerful beings, but it raises all these questions of, we had this crazy war with Thanos, and they weren't there. Why weren't they there? So that was my biggest question, which, for people who haven't seen it yet, it explains it perfectly, and it makes total sense once you watch the movie, which I liked, because I knew I wasn't going to like the movie if I was like, you're just doing this because you need a new phase. But it actually makes sense with the storyline, and it makes you excited for this next chapter and this next phase that we kind of know a little bit about. We know with Spider-Man there's going to be this multiverse, but we don't know this exact route, in the first phase, we saw the first Avengers movie, we got a post-credit scene with Thanos. So we kind of knew that the kind of direction that first Avengers big battle was going to go towards, was this final battle. With this, we don't really know yet. We know there's going to be a lot of new characters. We know, hopefully, with the multiverse, that we're going to see some old and new characters from maybe other cinematic universes. We're not really sure. But I think Eternals, again, it did a great job at getting me excited for what's to come.
Yeah. Yeah,
awesome. David?
It was, I had seen a lot of the publicity leading up to it. I was really concerned that it was not going to be, a good movie, and I was surprised. It was much better than I expected it to be from some of the publicity that I had seen. So I did enjoy it. It was not my all-time favorite, but it was good. I thought it was really good. I thought it was a great start and a lot of interesting new characters.
I loved what was really kind of caught me, a couple things. It did some things Marvel movies have never done before. It did some things comic book movies have never done before. One, they referenced Superman and Batman a couple times, like in the movie, and I was just like, what just happened? You can't. Yeah. And I thought that was really interesting. And then the tone of the movie, to me, it felt more like a DC movie, right?
It did,
and it kind of was just darker and more brooding, right? And then I read an article from the director who said that was the intent all along. She kind of patterned Zack Snyder's Man of Steel as kind of the tone for the Eternals. And I thought that was really an interesting way to take it. And honestly, I'm not sad about that. I love Marvel movies. Actually, I like them in contrast to DC. I love DC also, but they're brighter and more optimistic, and they're funnier and they're lighter, right? Yeah. But I think there's room for a little bit of darkness, if we could say that. Maybe it needs a little bit of that. You know what I'm saying? That it can just be too bright and shiny, and too tongue-in-cheek sometimes. Maybe this is a nice little contrast. Again, I'm glad every Marvel movie is not the same. They all feel different, too. That's a really one of the things they have done really well, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, that was just back to what we were saying about the shows. I mean, they do a great job at making every character and storyline have a different feel and a different theme of what they're trying to portray. Which, again, I would agree with what you're saying about Eternals being a different feel. Again, we're seeing a new phase here. They're going to be experimenting, and it's exciting. It's exciting to see them do something different than that cookie-cutter, what they've always kind of done with the different format.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Spider-Man coming next, right?
Yeah, it's December 17th, which I
know you're excited about that.
I'm pumped about it. I've been watching all the theories about what's to come with the multiverse, with the different Spider-Mans coming in. It's so hard to know. I mean, if you Googled on YouTube or searched on YouTube, there would be a million different theories about what people think the movie's going to be about. I've seen people have said that they think Doctor Strange is Mephisto from the second Spider-Man. I've seen so many different things. So I'm just excited to finally know. I won't have to guess anymore. I'll know what's happening.
Yeah. That's awesome. They have all of these properties right now, and they, the investment in Marvel, the investment in Star Wars, and then the Pixar and the classic Disney properties too. And man, it's just coming out as fast and furious. Yeah. I mean, if the goal now is to dominate the news cycle and to have social media content and buzz going, it's all the time. There's always something. I mean, yesterday they dropped trailers for the Kenobi series and a few other things too. Yeah. There was Disney Day just here, and we haven't even touched on that. There's so much to talk about all the time. Right. I haven't even seen the trailer yet, and I can't wait to see it.
Have you seen it? I'm excited. That's going to be fun. Yeah, I thought.
Are you really?
I don't know. When I saw it, I was like, man, I'm really excited for this. It kind of surprised me. It's like this feels really good.
Yeah. So far, I haven't had a moment where I'm like, oh no, not another Star or another Marvel. Just give me more. Just keep giving me more. As long as they're good, I'll take them all. Yeah. And keep them coming, and I think that's cool. And we kind of wrap it up here. I think it's a great place to kind of transition and close. But that's why I love Disney. I think that we would all kind of say the same thing. Is the content is so great, the storytelling is so compelling and so good, and there's so many creative voices and directors and people involved that can take a perspective and paint with a broad stroke, a new way of kind of a different angle of seeing these characters and these stories. And all these stories have common threads. They're all you really get down to the basics of them. They all have the same elements, the same formulas, right? But the way they tell them in such unique ways that keep us wanting more, to me, it's fascinating. Yeah. And it stretches our imaginations. It brings a sense of wonder and makes it really, I find it inspiring. I don't know if you guys have anything to add here as we close on those lines. Why do you guys love Disney? Let's wrap it up.
Well, I love that, just to add to that thing of just fans loving. I mean, another thing that came from Disney Plus Day was the teaser trailer sneak peek of the new Boba Fett thing that's coming out. And I was watching that, and I was just stunned, which I've never thought about. But in the original trilogy, Boba Fett only has minutes of screen time. I mean, barely any screen time. And then it just shot out that people love the character. They love that Western gung-ho kind of style, and people fell in love with this character. And now here we are in 2021, and there's going to be a series about him. It's just crazy, but it's awesome. I mean, it's awesome that people just get so wrapped up into these characters and their stories, and they just want to learn more. And then now that they're giving it to us, we can really love it. It's so fun.
I agree with that.
But yeah,
David, you got anything? I don't want to give you a chance here. What do you love?
Man,
Tell us why you love Disney.
Going to the parks with my family. I love watching movies with my family. It's been such a huge part of my childhood, and then my family time. So I'm always grateful for the great content that they give us. I mean, there's just always good things coming. There's so much to choose from. If you don't like everything, there's lots of good things you can find and watch and enjoy, and things you can do.
Yeah. That is absolutely correct. We're going to wrap up now. Man, that's why we love Disney. We would love to know why you love Disney. Can you let us know? You can contact us at whyilovedisney.com. We post all of these episodes there. There's a transcript of it as well, but we would love for you to comment and let us know, man, have you seen Eternals? What did you think? Are you excited about D23? What's the favorite trailer that you've seen? Interact with us. Let us know. John David, you're working on an Instagram for us. We'll have that up soon to let you know all about that. But in the meantime, man, thank you for your time. We really do appreciate it. Like, rate, review the podcast. Tell somebody about it. And until next time, take care.
Thanks.
David, JD, have a good one.
Awesome. Thank you.